Hello there, friends, and welcome back to more Final Fantasy VI. Last time, we found Terra here in Zozo, and we also learned that the Empire has captured a bunch of Espers and is draining them of their power. And today, we're going to be going to figure out a way to get to the Empire to free these Espers, while also learning about a new gimmick that Final Fantasy VI is sort of known for. Its Magi-citing system. We got some Magi-cites from Ramuh whenever we reached the top of Zozo, and I want to go ahead and go over these. But first, we have a new NPC here at the front of Zozo, who we might want to talk to. It seems you have some Magi-cite. Want to learn more about Espers? This is a decent tutorial on how Magi-cite and Espers work, so let's go ahead and see what he has to say. To use an Esper, you must first equip it by selecting Espers from the abilities menu. To summon the Esper in battle, select the name of the Esper by scrolling to the top of the magic command list. You can only call upon each Esper once per battle. Learning spells. When an Esper is equipped to someone, that character will learn spells over time. The set of spells each Esper teaches is different. The higher a spell's acquisition rate, the faster it will be memorized. Some Espers also permanently increase an attribute like Strength, Magic, HP, or MP when the character who has them equipped gains a level. So let's go ahead and take some of this information and apply it to what we already know. Before I do anything else today, I want to go ahead and really nail down what exactly Espers do and how Magi-cite functions. So let's go ahead and just dive into it. So in the abilities menu, let's go ahead and just toggle to Celeste. We can see we now have the Espers tab for every single party member, alongside any unique abilities like Blitz or Tools or Celeste's inherent magic. Looking at the Espers menu, we have Ramuh, and we can see what his standard ability is if we were to use him from the magic menu. His ability is Judgment Bolt, which bathes all enemies in lightning. This is a medium damage lightning attack that does, pretty decent damage, though it does have a pretty hefty cost of 25 MP. If we use the Y button, Magic Acquired, we can see what Ramuh will teach us after we've progressed enough in battle. If we look at the left side of the menu, we can see what spells we will learn. In the middle, we have the progress, so if we were to complete a battle with Ramuh equipped, we would see how close we are to actually memorizing the spell. And on the right side, we have the acquisition rate. What this means is at the end of every single battle, you will obtain AP. And if, for example, you obtain 1 AP, you then multiply that by the acquisition rate of each spell, and that's how much progress you've made. So, for example, if we were to obtain 1 AP from combat, for Thunder here, we would have 10% progress completed, which would mean that we would need 10 battles of obtaining 1 AP to fully memorize Thunder. Next, at the bottom of the screen, we can see at level up, once we've obtained a level up with this character and this Esper equipped on said character, we will obtain Stamina +1 for Celeste. Now, for those who remember all of the character bios, if you do not know what Magi-cite was at the time, I was talking about stat growths and which Magi-cite to equip on which character and what I recommended for each of them. This was because of these stat level up bonuses. So, we can see that Ramuh will give Stamina +1. Kirin, which has the ability Holy Aura, which gradually restores the party's HP, will give nothing. We can see that there are already some magic here that Celeste already naturally knows, like Cure and Poisona, which means that this may not be the main priority for Celeste to learn. But if we go to Siren at level up will boost the character's HP acquisition rate by 10%. It will not boost the character's current max HP by 10%, it will increase the amount of HP they gain per level up by 10%. We will also learn utility abilities like Sleep, Silence, and Slow, along with Fire here from the Siren. If we go to Kate C or Kate Sif, however you want to pronounce it, by leveling up we obtain 1 extra magic bonus every single time we level up. So naturally your magic stat does not level up does not gain levels as you level up. But if we were to level up with KHC, our magic stat would be increased by 1. So that's very important to keep in mind. Generally speaking, you're going to want to figure out what your characters are going to prefer in terms of magic, slap that on them, slap that Esper on them, so they can learn the magic, and whenever they get close to leveling up, find the Esper that has the level up bonus that you prefer, put the character on that Esper, get the level up bonus, and then move back to whatever Esper you want the magic from. Ultimately speaking, in the Pixel Remaster version, thanks to a special boost function that I haven't really talked about, the AP function, which will increase the amount of AP you get in battle, it really isn't difficult at all to get every single piece of magic for every single character without really any issue. So, focus more on trying to get those level up bonuses as much as possible. And it's also the biggest reason why I've tried to minimize my level ups as reasonably as I could, because I want to get the most out of these level up bonuses from Magi-citing as I can. Okay, so that's enough exposition and talking. For those who don't remember, here on screen right now are the recommendations for stat boosts and level ups that I had for characters I've already talked about in bios. Now that we have fully been acclimated with Magi-citing, for future bios, you will fully understand what I mean when I talk about Magi-citing growths. But that's enough about this. Which Espers am I going to equip on each character? Well, Ramuh is going to give me attack magic, which, because Celeste is our hardest hitting magical attacker right now, I think it makes sense to give her Ramuh so that she can learn Thunder, Thundara, and Poison. Stamina +1 is really not a big deal, as stamina itself isn't really the greatest stat in the world, so whenever she's about to level up, I'll switch over to KHC to get that magic +1. Locke, on the other hand, I'm going to go ahead and give him Kirin. Kirin has a bunch of support magic, like Cura, Regen, Poisona, and Libra. These spells are fully healing or support-based, and while Locke isn't the greatest at magic, because his physical attacks aren't amazing right now, I think sort of having him sub out as a healer for the party is probably the best way to go for right now until he is fully capable as a fighter. Besides, healing never really hurt anyone anyways. At least I would hope so. Edgar, again, whenever he's ready to level up, I'll go ahead and probably swap over to Magic +1 so his tools that scale off of magic do more damage. But for right now, I think giving him Siren is probably the best bet, so he has utility spells like Sleep, Silence, Slow, and a little bit of fire magic if he needs it. And that leaves Kate C for Sabin, who will have utility spells like Confuse, Imp, and Float. And naturally, on level up, he'll get Magic +1. Sabin is already the closest to leveling up out of all of our party members, so he will get that Magic +1 immediately. But I don't think it's enough to just talk about these Espers. I think it would be best, on our way back to Dejor, to get into some fights and get fully acquainted with these Espers. See what they can do. I just gotta find a fight here first. There we go. Against a 3 Rock Wasps and 2 Parladias. So if we scroll up on the magic menu here, we can see Ramuh. Let's see what Judgment Bolt can do. Ramuh takes to the field and does a bunch of damage to every single enemy. We can see that it does pretty respectable damage. It doesn't take everyone out, but that's okay. Every single Esper can be used once per battle, but not more than once per fight. There are technically exceptions to this, but it's a very niche rule, and I'll make sure to go over it whenever we get to that point, but it isn't important to note right now. But now we can see in the combat menu that we obtained 1 magic AP from that fight. Magic AP is similar to EXP and Gil. It is not based on the enemies you fight, it is based on the enemy formations that you encounter. So you're going to want to look for specific enemy formations in order to get the most AP that you can. Let's go ahead and see, let's go to Magic right here, and use Kate C to confuse all enemies. This is also how you get magic for every single party member. You need to memorize magic from each Esper in order to use them, so you need to not only equip them and use the Espers in combat by, getting AP, but you also need to wait until you've memorized the spells before you can actually use them in combat. We can watch as they murdered each other, and we got 2 AP for that. I'm going to try and showcase as many Espers, if not all of them, as I can, before we just kind of bench them, as there are Espers that are just factually superior to others. But obviously right now we're stuck with just these 4, so it shouldn't be too bad. Let's go ahead and see what Sirens does. It silences all enemies, which honestly isn't really going to help too much here because none of these guys, at least not to my knowledge, use magic at all. But it's worth the showcase anyways. I guess while we're here as well, we can go ahead and show off Kieran, which will gradually restore the party's HP. And then we can go ahead and prep to take these guys down. If Celeste's magic damage does not do that already. I doubt it. Alright, Holy Aura. The sprite work for the Espers are honestly some of my favorite things about this game. Sprite work is just really, really good. Now, the regen health tick here is actually based on your stamina stat. So if you want to have a higher regen health tick, then perhaps leveling up stamina is in your future. Now, I don't fully intend to really level up AP too much. I don't really want to grind super hard when it comes to trying to level up these Espers and whatnot, but there will be points in time where I am going to verbally admit that I am going to level up these Espers to get as much magic on each character as I can, and potentially even level grind a teeny bit in terms of actual levels to get stat bonuses. But realistically speaking, this game is easy enough as long as you are very mindful of what stat bonuses you're giving to your characters and what gear you're wearing, so it really shouldn't be that big of a deal regardless. Either way, though, we've now arrived here in Jador. First things first, what I'm going to do, I'm going to head immediately to that end because our HP and MP are now pretty hurting. Also, I guess it is important to note that everyone now has an MP bar, so we can see that currently Locke actually has the least amount of MP out of this group, which is pretty impressive. If you were to go back to Nars and swap out your party, Gao and Cayenne both also now have MP bars. It's not like they needed to be present in order to obtain that. You can equip Magi-cite on them as per usual. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Of course, there's only 4 Magi-cite right now, and since we're a full party of 4, it seems best to just keep the current 4 Magi-cite in your current party of 4. So we were told that there are some rich aristocrats here in Jador that might be potentially willing to help us get to the Empire. And I can't think of anywhere best to start than the richest aristocrat here, Ozer, who has this giant hello, you're new. You were the only one here originally, but what do you want to say, good sir? Maria? Me? Sorry, I mistook you for someone else. Still, you could pass for Maria in a heartbeat. Oh dear, we're really in trouble this time. Celeste looks like Maria. Strike the pose. Who's Maria, I wonder? I mean, you were mentioning Maria last time we were here. You're the spitting image of Maria, huh? Haven't heard of her. Yeah, she's that famous singer, apparently. Well, I mean, there's not really much for us to do here. We were thinking about looking at the paintings last time. Picture of a lovely lady. Suit of armor, it would seem. A very old painting of a bucket. It appears to be a lamp. Okay. This one looks awfully familiar. It's the magnum opus of this mansion, I'm gonna say that right now. Picture of an old urn. Picture of a treasure chest on a canvas. And a beautiful still life of flowers. It's almost as if they were alive. We didn't really get to see those paintings last time I was here. I guess I just didn't really show it off, but there we go. Oh, hey, I guess this guy dropped a letter. That man must have dropped this. That man is the director of the troupe that performs at the Opera House. Everyone just calls him Impresario. He's been in a tizzy ever since that letter arrived. Dearest Maria, I have decided to take you as my wife, so I'll be coming to kidnap you, the wandering gambler. Who's this wandering what's-his-face? Were you born on a farm, son? A gambling vagabond who finds freedom from society's narrow views of morality aboard his airship, the Blackjack. His name is Setzer. He's an interesting fellow. There we go. That would be Setzer, Ozer's owner of one of the world's only airship. If we had that airship, we'd have our way into the Empire. Let's set up a meeting with this Setzer then. I love this theme. We'll get to hear it later, but I just wanted to go ahead and say that. So we have our next destination, but before we do anything like that, I've already automatically changed my mind, and I think I might actually prep my team a little bit before we head out to the Opera House. So first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to regulate this AP grinding session. I'm going to switch it over to ×4, which will very easily get me a lot of these magic abilities pretty quickly. But I'm going to keep my EXP as pretty tame as possible. I don't want to gain more than... I do not want to reach any higher than level 15 while I do this. If I max out all of the magic abilities that I have beforehand, then that's where I stop. That's where I call it quits. I should probably turn encounters on. But generally speaking, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up an auto battle, and we're just going to see what happens. So I'll see you at the end of this session. Whoa, that's a lot right there. Slus learned Thunder, Edgar learned Fire, Edgar learned Slow, Edgar learned Silence, Edgar learned Sleep, Edgar learned Confuse. If you have mastered every single piece of magic that a Esper can give you, you'll get a little star mark by their name, showcasing that you have learned everything they have to teach. Unfortunately, I can't really just swap him over to anything just yet, because everyone else is still trying to learn stuff from each of their Espers, so Edgar will just have to sit on Siren for right now. So we can see right here that when Sabin leveled up to level 14, alongside his HP and MP stat increases, he also got a Magi-citing bonus of Magic +1. This is going to be very important, as again, Sabin's most powerful blitzes are based on his magic stat, and so making sure that he gets as much magic boosts as possible, especially since it starts out fairly low, is going to be very, very, very important. So, yeah. I do want to note that if you're on other versions of the game that do not have these EXP boosts, honestly what I would say is that you should probably level grind up to level 15 if you've not hit it already, and just try to get as many stat boosts as you can from that point, and whatever magic you get. But stop right there, or else things might get a little too easy for you. Alright, I'm all rested up after this grind session, so let's go ahead and, well, I guess I really would call it a grind session. It's a catch-up session, that's what it is. So let's go ahead and talk about what I've gotten so far. So I've gotten everyone to level 15 except for Locke. Of course, he's always the one coming up short, but that's okay. But in terms of Espers and magic I've learned, everyone except for Locke, once again, sorry buddy, has maxed out on Siren, so everyone now knows the Sleep, Silence, Slow, and Fire spell. Celeste is currently working on Ramu, and has learned everything except for Thundara. Locke is currently working on Siren, which he's almost done. Edgar is currently, he's maxed out Siren, and he's currently working on KHC, which he has not finished progress at all on. And Sabin has not only finished Siren and KHC, he hasn't worked on Kieran at all yet, but at level 15, he learned a completely new blitz, Rising Phoenix, which engulfs all enemies in Spiritual Flame. This is a magic attack-based blitz. Again, magic is very important for Sabin, surprisingly, despite what his stats might say. But this is an AoE fire-based magic attack that is very powerful, and was the main reason why I wanted to get everyone to level 15, because Rising Phoenix is going to be a very useful AoE ability from this point onward, and it also means that every single character, again, except for Locke, has a reliable AoE ability. Now, obviously, Locke has Fire now. Well, is about to have Fire. Actually, no. Yeah, he's about to have Fire. But, hey, I mean, it's working out. I guess I should probably work on Kieran a little bit here, but, yeah, sure, why not? We'll go ahead and give him Kieran. And I guess for right now, we'll just have Sabin kind of chill on Siren a little bit. I want to see if I can get Locke to learn Kira. I am also probably, for the time being, going to keep Magic AP at 2 times increase for right now. I'll probably remove that down to 1 time, so whenever we get to enemies that have higher AP acquisition, but for right now, when we're only getting 1 or 2, it might be best to just try and get as much magic abilities as we can. Especially with characters being slotted in and out constantly, we want to make sure that everyone is useful as often as possible. But that's enough for my preparation session. I have a lot of gil, but nothing really to spend it on except for excess items, but I don't think I need that. So, I think this is a pretty decent place to call it off. We know exactly where we're headed, the Opera House, and why we're going there. To see if we can bargain with this Setzer, and maybe, just maybe, find a way to the Empire. So, next time on Final Fantasy VI, that's exactly what we're gonna do. And with that said, I'll see you soon. Next one is the doozy.